welcome to the No Walls podcast. We are back with another episode, and today I'm super excited because I have some of my favorite people on the planet Earth on this podcast, including the new producer of this podcast. Y'all welcome to the podcast, Tony Ford and Chris Riley. Let's go. This isn't live, so there's no cheering. Maybe you can add some cheering in post or something. But today is a fun one because we have a word for the year at Brick Youth. It's a phrase actually this year, and it is Occupy All Streets. And I just want to talk about it a little bit. We're about to hop into a new collection of sermons called Obstacles of Occupation. So we're going to talk about what are the things that get in the way of that. So I just want to have a conversation with you guys today. Chris, you are how old?
I am 18 years old.
You're 18 years old, and you are currently in college, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, cool. And then Tony, you are how old?
18.
18, but you are currently in high school.
Yes, sir.
Right? Okay, so you guys are like the perfect age really for this conversation, and I'm really excited about it. So, Chris, what do you currently do right now?
So I'm Chris Riley, in case we have not yet met. I get to be one of the tribe leaders here at Youth. I'm 18 years old. I am a college student at Connors State. I get to go and I get to work at the greatest job ever. That is Queen City in Muskogee.
Yes, sir. It's a coffee shop, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Full time, getting to go rock it, getting to make some drinks, have fun. On top of that, I do full-time college online, and then with that, I'm the mascot for Connors State College, which is a pretty fun time.
Isn't that a secret? Do you have to have a secret identity?
Yeah, I mean, this might be like one of my Iron Man moments where I'm like, I am Iron Man. But I do that, and then also on top of that, I do ministry here at Youth.
Yes,
Get to lead kids, get to love them, get to be a tribe leader here. It's a great time.
Let's go. Tony, what about you, bro?
Shoot, bro. I'm just a normal high school. I'm just playing. So I attend Hilldale High School. I'm a senior at Hilldale, and that's super boring. But I get to be an intern here at the Brick, and that's always amazing. I get to speak on stage sometimes, and then I get to manage our social media. So any social media post or the link to this, if you possibly seen this, came from me somehow, some way.
Yep.
And I like that.
Yep.
And then on top of that, I am an intern at Bank First. However, I do get paid to do that for free.
Yep. Paid intern. Let's go.
I'm a double intern.
Let's go.
And then outside of that, I play soccer, and I get to enjoy moments like this with my boys.
Let's go. Let's go, guys. Yeah. So whenever we're talking about, you guys both just described a lot of avenues where your lives kind of touch, right? Like you're describing your jobs. Your life swerves into a bank once a day. Your life swerves into a mascot suit every once in a while. And this is kind of really what we're talking about. We're talking about like the streets that you occupy, right? Everyone has these unique streets that they're occupying that no one else will occupy. I will never be the mascot of Connors State College, no matter how hard I try at this point in my life, right? Like it just won't happen. But you are, and I probably won't ever be an intern at Bank First, but you are right now. And so one of the questions I was going to ask is, what have been some times in your life where you've been able to occupy the street that you're in, and what was that like for you?
Okay, I'll go. So I'll run down my whole week for you. So Monday through Friday, I work full-time, Queen City. And I'd say Queen City is something that's like it's different. If you've never been to Queen City, it's the greatest coffee shop like in the world.
Yeah.
And there's also in occupying with Queen City, there's something different about like how you look on it as like black and white paper. Like on a black and white paper, it's like I make coffee and I give it to people, and they're like, they drink it and they're like, oh, this is pretty good. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
But like in it, like working, there's something that's like so tangible in into occupying something. Like I get to create something with intricacy, like intimacy, and I get to create a craft for someone, and I get to give it to someone, and like hope and pray that like, hey, like they're going to the bad job they hate, they're doing the terrible errands that they hate doing every day, but then they can look at that coffee and be like, hey, but I got that good coffee.
Yeah. Brighten up their day a little bit.
And also on top of that, I get to talk to the most amazing people. Like I get to have conversations that like I didn't think I'd be even having in my life, or especially at 18, to people who come through a drive-through and look at me and say like, hey, can I just like spread some stuff to you real quick? And just like, they'll just shower all the things. I'm like, okay, this is wild. Like this is what I'm here for. And that's a type of occupying that I love. As I would say, doing Queen City is a ministry. And on top of that, as we were talking about mascot, that's another form of occupying. I think it's wild how weird it is. I get in the suit and I get to just do the most wildest things.
Yeah.
But on top of that, with that, there's something that I didn't think until learning it through high school, which I've been doing mascot for 4 years now. And I learned it through high school, and it's something that like you're getting to create something for someone to have, even if it's like they don't get to physically take it, they get to have a show, they get to have something that they could like, whoa, okay, I don't think I've seen a mascot like that before. I don't think I've seen, this is almost like a concert.
Yeah.
Matthew 5:14 says like, let your light shine.
Yeah.
You're the light of the world.
Mm-hmm.
And I think being the mascot is one of those things I get to be the light of something. I get to go and just like, I don't know what people are going through. I don't know if they're coming to the game because they're forced to or they're not, but they get to have me as a thing that they can distract their problems away.
Yeah.
I think that's also a type of occupying I love. And then youth itself, like here's like, it's different. Like this place it's different. If you've never been here, like we say something every week, and that this is a place for you to come and belong before you believe. And if you come in these doors, bro, you're gonna feel something different. And You're gonna leave a whole different way. I started attending here 2019, and it's been a trip. And I never would have thought that I would be here. I never thought I would be with you guys doing this thing.
Yeah.
And it's really cool how God can take one thing and bring it into another thing. And now it's like I was fished, and I was brought to youth, and now I'm getting to fish other kids and bring them. So
that's good.
Cool.
That's good. I like that answer, bro. That's really good.
Thanks, bro.
It's really good.
Yeah.
What you got, Tony?
And then I get to occupy my street in all sorts of ways, bro. But as much as I wish I was as creative or innovative as Chris and getting to go be a mascot, I see the way I occupy my streets is how I interact with the people around me. I think one of the most influential ways I get to do that is like at work and school is just be there for someone and be the difference maker. I know that at my job, I get to be around people that are in like real time struggles. I get to be with like young adults, have kids at home that are paying bills, and I just get to hear about their problems, and I get to be someone that gets to be in their life and gets to understand like what they're going through. And like I don't really know what they're going through, but I do know that there's a God that loves them.
Yeah.
And I think like how I occupy that street is I'm just available for them. I'm available for what they're like going through. I'm available to like walk alongside them for the period I am with them.
Yeah.
And even before like that, I'm pretty sure any job I did, there was always someone like going through something, and like the availability of being open just to be there with them, bro. And that like they know that you are a spot for them. I think that's a wonderful way to do that. But it's not just at work. That's an amazing one at school. Like there's kids up and down the hallway that just need love and someone available for them. And whenever they know that like that you get to be there for them and that you could have a conversation, like even if it's just a simple conversation, like I'm just letting them know like, bro, you look great today, or like, bro, like a lot of times smell good.
Yeah.
Like I always remember whenever people would come up to me and I dap them up and give them a hug, and they tell me I smell good. Like, bro, I felt like a different beast after that. I can go conquer something.
Yeah.
And so I catch a whiff and like, ooh, I smell nice today.
Smell good, bro.
I gotta let them know. I gotta let them know. Sure. And I think occupying my street really means just like influencing the people around me, and I try to do that to the best of my ability.
That's good, bro. That's really good. I love both y'all's answers because I think sometimes we make that phrase, not necessarily occupying all streets, but what we're kind of tying it to is it's like almost like the Great Commission, right? It's like, go out and at all nations, make disciples, share the gospel. And sometimes we make that so like scary and big. Like, does that mean that when I go to school, I need to find a stage to stand on and like preach to people about Jesus and get rowdy and just, it's like no, it really is like what you were saying. It's like, or like what both of y'all been saying. It's like giving someone a compliment. You know what I mean? Or making sure that like whatever I'm bringing to the table, I'm bringing excellence to it so that I can be the light to someone. Yeah. Right? I was reading a couple of scriptures today, and I was trying to get ready kind of for this series and preaching this series, and the word light kept popping up to me in like all the scriptures I was reading, because you have John 1-5, where in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and all that, and then it goes down and it says that Jesus, I'm about to paraphrase the mess out of this, but Jesus was the life of man, and he was the light. And anyways, it says he was the light, and the darkness had not overcome it, right? And then you go, and then I went to another passage, the one that you said, and then Jesus says that you are the light of the world, right? And then there's another scripture where I just kept seeing light everywhere, and I think really when we're occupying all streets, the job isn't to be the most professional. The job isn't to always present the gospel in the most clean way possible, but a lot of times it's just how can I be a light to you today? You know what I mean? Like, how can I tell you, like, come up and find something to compliment you on? And then, people may or may not all of a sudden have a conversion to Jesus, but the next time they think about someone that's kind, they'll think of you. When they find out you are a Christian, they'll find out maybe your kindness comes from something that's bigger than yourself. You know what I mean? I know, I think one of the ways that I actually fell in love with ministry was we actually have a mutual ex job.
That we do.
And it is, I worked at a cabinet shop, and I didn't get as high up as Tony. Tony was up in
I was a big
Tony
boy.
made it to the indoor
To the
office.
top.
I was always out there.
At 17.
Yeah, 17. I was out there, making cabinets. And I remember I'll go on deliveries with these guys, and a lot of these guys were struggling in a lot of ways. Some of the guys that I talked to, were struggling with addiction, and some of the guys, and it wasn't always like something as drastic as that, but it's just like, life is hard sometimes. And I remember I was 17, 18 at the time, and I was driving a lot of times to these places where we were delivering cabinets, and these guys would just start talking and just tell me everything. I remember thinking, like, two things dawned on me. The first one was like, you must have no one in your life that will actually actively listen to you. For me to be a 17-year-old, we have almost no equity with each other, and you're willing to tell me all these things about yourself and all the stuff that's happening in your life. It's like, holy crap, man. Like, a lot of these people just want to tell their story. That's something I realized. And the second thing was that, like, I realized I didn't have to be the wisest person, right? I didn't have to always have the answers. Like, they would come up and ask me, they would tell me wild stuff. And, like, I'm 17. I have, like, no life experience, and still don't have a whole lot of life experience. But, like, I don't know how to walk you through, like, the affair that you're going through. I don't know how to walk you through the drug addiction that you're going through. All I know to do is to tell you the things that, like, I know that I've heard from church or that I've heard from the Bible, and, like, I still don't have, like, a whole lot of that, like, internalized at the time. And it was crazy that, like, how transformative I would see, how transformative it would be for these people to have someone to listen to. However, there's kind of like another side to that, right? It's like when you're trying to occupy all streets. Like, have you ever had a moment where you felt like it was difficult to occupy your street? Like, have you ever had moments where you felt like it was difficult to, let me ask this question differently. Have you ever had a moment where you felt like it was difficult to represent Jesus during a certain season of your life?
Yeah, I got two things.
Okay.
I'd say the first, you said represent.
Yeah. Like, have you had a time in your moment, a season in your life, anything like that, where you felt like representing Jesus was difficult? Like, you felt like occupying your street was hard?
I think I can find myself in moments, where almost as in occupying, it's pouring out, and sometimes we don't get our cup filled up, and sometimes I can get left in spaces where I forget about myself, and I'm pouring out, and I can't get poured back in. Scripture talks about to love one another as we love ourselves.
Yeah.
And if we can't love ourselves, then, like, we can't love people.
Yeah.
It's just impossible. We need God to love ourselves, and then we need God to love people.
Yeah.
Scripture also says that as the Father so loves me, I so love you. And so we got to see ourselves and treat ourselves as Jesus would treat us, as if we were Jesus. And I think there were some seasons, I know at the end of my senior year, I was having a lot of things. There was a lot of distractions. There was a lot of things that I was building up to. Like, I'm about to graduate. I'm about to do this thing and get out of this, like, this school thing. Like, we're about to get into some real stuff. And I remember in that season, I was so tired. Like, I was so tired. And I think when we get tired, we can lose vision. And then when we lose vision, we get lost.
Yeah.
And then we just forget, like, why am I doing what I'm doing? Why am I occupying? I know it's Proverbs. It says that where there is no vision, the people perish.
Yeah.
And that's a scary thing.
Yeah.
Because it's real. It's like you can get lost so easily because you're not taking care of yourself.
Yeah.
Before even doing this, I was talking to my therapist about it. Like, I think I got so many things going on right now, but to know and, like, balance those things so you can occupy is key. And then the other thing was, gosh, what was the other thing?
Oh, snap.
It was.
I actually have a question for you off that. If you okay, so I thought that's all really good, but I do have a question. You're talking about how essentially you get weary and you lose vision, right? And, like, your whole bit on, like, without vision people perish. That's such a good teaching point. How do you, as a freshman, sophomore in college,
I think fresh.
freshman in college. How do you keep vision in front of you? Like, how do you keep yourself motivated to occupy the streets that you're in?
That's good.
I think the biggest thing is people, community, like having you guys. Like, I feel like if I don't have people directing me, like counselors all around me, then I'd be so lost.
Mm.
Which praise God, like right after high school, I have this place.
Yeah.
So it's like I can just go right into something instead of just being, all right, I'm done with high school. What am I gonna do?
Right. I'm out here floating.
Yeah. Which I've had people in my life. I've had friends I've seen that have done just that, and it's not a good time to see them like that. It's not a good time to watch people you love do that. And I think having people is the biggest thing. I think, I don't know if you're a student listening to this, I don't know if you're an adult, but if you have people around you, it does not matter. You're going to be good. You're going to be okay. If you have counselors that love you and that know that they love you, like, you're going to be good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, Tony?
Well, I think that's great. Yeah, community is definitely necessary for you to keep vision in front of you. And yeah, I've had like a ton of difficulties with occupying my street. I think one of the biggest ones was transitioning from like my earthly self to like who God's called me to be, and that loses a lot of equity with a lot of people. I think some of the obstacles you just get from being like in school is wanting to like please people or wanting to fit in.
Yeah.
And like if you're doing anything divine or holy, it is set apart. It literally is set apart. And that's something super difficult to even unpack being a student, especially in like middle school or something. Whenever you're just trying to make friends, it's super difficult to try and be set apart whenever you're actually trying to fit in.
Right.
And even with that, I used to like push the envelope. Like even if it wasn't like fitting in as being like the nicest person, I wanted to be the most outstanding person that people would notice.
Yeah.
And instead of being outstanding in a like a good way or a godly way, I'd be outstanding in like a earthly way, in like a sinful way. And like I would say the things that no one would say. Like, I don't know how you could call that girl that.
Right.
I don't know how you could make that remark. And I would just do it for the laughs, or I'd do it for the moment of people recognizing that I would go above and beyond to get recognized. And that happened to like stick with me. And so whenever I decided like, oh, that's not who I want to be anymore, that still lost equity with a lot of people. And so the biggest obstacle I had to overcome is not let who I was determine who I am.
Yeah, that's good.
And that was just a whole difficult thing into itself, and it still kind of wrestles me today. I had a conversation with someone like a week ago, and she's like, I was telling her about like I was going to ORU to tour the college, and she was like, that's so wild that you even want to do ministry with your future, or that you're even where you're at the church right now. And like the person I met 4 years ago told me that I stunk.
Yeah.
I was like, in the nicest way, you probably did, but but that wasn't the kindest thing to tell her.
Right. Yeah.
And I like the idea that I've been transformed in Christ, but I also understand that the difficulties of like what I've done is something that's going to be with me. And so that was always a big obstacle, and being different. But I think another obstacle that always comes with, and this is more like reaching people outside of the school, is me just being a kid. Like up until this year, I literally was a kid. Now I get to be a grown man. But prior to that, I was just a kid. No matter how many college classes I took, no matter how hard I worked, no matter how many things I did outside of high school, people still saw me as just a kid.
Yeah.
But Paul writes to Timothy and tells him, don't let like being young be the reason that you don't reach people. And I think that you need to stick to that the best of your ability, no matter if you're just in sixth grade or you're a senior in high school like me. There is nothing about your lack of experience that God won't make up for. There's a million things you could do in your street. You can occupy both sides as best you can, but you will never have the experience of someone else, but you will have the God that has the experience of the entire world.
Yeah, that's good.
And with that behind you, I don't think you should let being young determine who you're reaching or how you're occupying.
That's good, bro. That's good stuff. One of the things you talked about was essentially, which I planned, this is going to be in my sermon, so I'm glad you're talking about this. Like fear of man, right? It's like you got to a spot where you were, fear of man is just a big churchy word, meaning you care what other people think, right? And we will always care what other people think. But really our job as Christians is to try to get to a place where we care more about what God thinks than what other people think, right? And you can go a really far extreme and be like, I'm not gonna mess with any of these people because I only care what God thinks. And it's like, but God thinks that you should love people. So go back and love people well. What was that like? That's I think for me in high school, that was probably one of the biggest things, right? It's like, well, also I wasn't really like following Jesus like to the fullest extent anyways, but even on these like little spurts where I would think like, oh, I might try this Jesus thing, I think I would really get my head about like, well, like how's it gonna affect my friendships? Like what does that, what does that look like? And with you guys, fresh out of high school, about to be out of high school, and you guys both were really involved in the student ministry throughout high school. What was that transition process look like, and how did you get to a spot where you could say, and we're all working on this, no one's perfect, no one has it all the way, but how did you get to a spot where you could say like, I'm how did you start caring more about what God thinks than what your peers think?
I think the hardest part about that was like, of course, like you were worrying about what people thought, and I think the hardest part to get to was like God cares about who I'm becoming, and so starting to understand that that's more important than what they thought it was probably what came down to it. But I think it was my like counsel. It was the people I was trying to be influenced by.
Yeah.
So like while I'm occupying my street, I'm actually on the street of other people. And whenever you're in that, if you're surrounding yourself with people that care about how you are acting and like who you're becoming rather than what you are and what you've done, you get to really have a changed perspective on that. And so whenever I'm getting counseled by people like you or people at this church, I get to be more godly and I get to worry about what God thinks of me. But whenever I'm being on the streets of people who are worried about my earthly desire and worried about like what I can offer to them, that's when I'm going to be surrounded by like what I can be for them rather than who I am.
Yeah, that's good. That's actually really good.
That's really good. A prayer that I said every day my sophomore year was that I would wake up and I'd take care of my cat, and right before I would leave, I would say, God, I want to create, I want to live, and I want to inspire. Like I would say those three things.
Oh, that's good.
Can we back up real quick?
Yeah.
You would wake up and then what?
I take care of my cat. His name is Oreo, and he's like the sweetest boy ever. I'm in love with him. We were actually talking. Like I would actually marry that dude. Like me and him are something special. We're different, Chris.
That's why.
Hey, I'm authentic. I think that's one of the gifts that God has given to me is that I can be authentic.
Yeah, you are, bro.
But yeah, I love that man. He's awesome. I would take care of my dude, and then I would say like, God, let's do it. Let's create. Let's live and inspire.
Yeah.
And that was my season where I had a lot of things going on. I was just in Switch, or that's what we used to call youth.
Yeah.
And like I was getting the hang of things, like falling into the steps of like what is pre-worship, like what is this, and I was just serving on tech team. And as I would say those prayers and I would do those rhythms, God would give me opportunities and moments that I didn't think would be possible.
Yeah.
And He'd give me a strength and He'd give me a spirit that was like, hey, I don't want you to care about anything else. I need you to just have your eyes on me. And as I would create, live, inspire, I'd fall in love with Him every day. And I'd be like, well, none of these things really do matter except the thing that I'm doing for you.
Yeah.
And so getting to do things like make music in high school, getting to create clothes.
Shout out to Sen.
Yes, sir.
That's it. I'm wearing it right now.
He's wearing it right now, baby.
Brand, in case y'all didn't know. So the producer of this podcast also has a clothing brand, so that's pretty dope.
acnd.store. Check it out.
How do we get
Check it out.
sponsored?
There we go.
Sponsored.
Yo, man. But I would live that out. And then those things led me to have moments where I get to actually get tangible in high school.
Yeah.
Like I'd have conversations with people. I got to go and have a strength, not just in caring, like the strength of not caring about what people thought about music, thought about my clothes, led me to have strength of like, I don't think anyone really cares about if I do anything in the hallways, like yell or scream at people and just try to love them the best that I would want to be loved.
Yeah.
And then that has led to me where I am now in the youth ministry, getting to scream at kids during games.
Yeah.
Yeah, you do, bro.
Doing the most amazing like things I did not think would be possible. I get to love on kids. I get to love on my tribe.
Yeah.
I get to watch men like myself create, live, inspire.
Yeah, for sure.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good, man. That's really good. Has there been a specific time in y'all's life where you've seen someone occupy a street, you've gotten to occupy a street, and you've seen like a significant like story unfold from that?
Yeah.
So I don't think I got to see it from a third person perspective, but I got to see it from being on your street actually. So like I would say I'm the fruit of you occupying your street. Like I not saying directly, like God did magical things, miracles through you, and that impacted me greatly. But being like having the opportunity to serve under you, like under as with the tech team, like that was my place to get plugged in, bro. Because like prior to that, I don't really remember it. I don't think I was doing anything for the church.
Tech team
if I'm
was good
completely
times,
honest.
bro. Back in
Tech
the
team
day.
was fantastic. Whenever I tell you that there is no other spot to serve quite like tech team during that period.
Yeah.
Like, bro, that was
good
the
times.
spot. That was the spot for me. Chris was actually on the tech team as well, which was just the dopest thing ever. Because like Preston was like, bro, I'm gonna influence these kids, and we were just like, feed me, father. Not exactly like that, but yeah, it was like great to be like on your street as you occupied it, and that didn't end there. Like whenever you got to start doing creative team stuff, you were like, bro, do you want to do that? And so like since then I've been able to be like on your street, and like as you occupy it, as you influence me and counsel me, you also get to like give me vision of like things I can do or things that I can get my hands on. And like even if that's stage communication or social media management, like all of that didn't occur prior to being the fruit of your street. And so I think that's been a great impact for me, bro.
Yeah, bro. I'm proud of you, bro. For real.
Thanks, man.
I'm really proud of you.
Proud of you, bro. I'm glad you're occupying your street.
I'm glad y'all hopped on the tech team with me. What really happened was
He forced us.
I had a team, and I was like, there were these kids running around. I was like, get in the tech booth, y'all. I need y'all right now. I don't got no one on my team. No, but it really has been a journey to be able to walk with y'all, and I'm really proud of y'all. And it's been a super dope time. So yeah, I appreciate that, bro.
Thank you, bro.
Yeah, man.
I'd have to agree with you, bro. Like I don't know where like I would be without you, bro. Like you're my dude, you're my dog, and like it's insane. Like to watch you take your steps, and then those steps like lead into us is like it's wild, bro. It's
the
different. And I think that can be proven to like this whole church. Like there's so many people who taking the steps, the hard steps. Like we get to have Taylor as the man he is, and he gets to feed into all the kids.
Yeah.
We get to have people like Tyler. We get to have people like Jared. We get to have people like Ryan that had the hard things to go through.
Yeah.
And then now with them occupying, they're fishing for us, and now we get to occupy.
Yeah, that's one of the beautiful things about that. Like I said, I'm so proud of y'all. It's been an honor to get to lead y'all, but really the way that this street works is I got to be on the street because I got to stand on the shoulders of a giant who was occupying a street for me. You know what I mean? That was Taylor. Yeah. And he got to be on the street because there were people who were occupying streets for him. And I think it's beautiful. We get to be in this feedback loop, essentially, of this, or I guess this continuation of a road, if we want to use an analogy, of being on the street together. And yeah, I think I'm like, it's just really cool to see. I think it's really cool to see that y'all are doing it now too. You know what I mean? Like y'all, like you said, like in the coffee shop, trying to be the light to people. You know what I mean? In the even at your job, trying to be the light to people. But like even get to see y'all do it in ministry, it has been incredible for me. See y'all take steps as communicators. Having y'all on the podcast today, bro, is freaking crazy.
It was a great time.
But yeah, is there to wrap this thing up? This is kind of last little thing we hit on. What would you say to a student who is watching this, or anyone who is watching this, and they feel like occupying all streets has to look like ministry, and they're wondering like, is there a way for them to occupy all streets outside of ministry in their daily lives? What would you say to someone like that?
I would say the best thing to do is just be yourself. Like you don't know what being yourself is gonna look like into one way, and then it leads to something else, and it leads to something else. I think following that has led me in places that like have changed my life and have dwelled deep into ministry. But being yourself doesn't also have to look like you getting on a stage and saying something. It doesn't have to look at you praying on kids. It doesn't have to look at that way. I think being yourself though has like authenticity, and I believe there's anointing in your authenticity that can just be like unlocked once you step into that thing. And I think occupying is just like a perk for that.
Yeah.
I think once you unlock that, everything is just gonna come your way. Like you're gonna start doing some things that you never would have thought of imagined.
Yeah. That's good. Yeah, like find your way to occupy your street. Yeah. Doesn't have to look like a stage. Doesn't have to look like, preaching. It can look like just loving people well. Yeah. Tony, you got anything you want to add?
Yeah, I think I sort of touched on it like before this, but I think occupying your street just looks like influencing the people around you, and that is way more than ministry. Like as you can see, it'd be awesome if only influencers were like pastors or someone in ministry, but they're not. The reality is there's all sorts of influences you get all across like your life, and getting to influence someone else through whatever avenue you're in. Like, it doesn't matter if you're not a professional in your career yet, and
Yeah.
you're just a student in high school. Like, that's the street that you get to occupy for this season, and you influencing the people around you is how to occupy that. And so, whenever you're questioning, like, what is it? Do I need to pray for these kids, or I need to spread the gospel? Like, no, you don't have to do all that. It'd be great if you did.
Yeah.
If you had the comfort and you didn't have to have the fear of man over you. But like obstacles like that don't have to just apply to like ministry.
Yeah.
Like whenever you influence someone, it's just being there. It's just being yourself, being authentic, as he said. That is how you get to impact someone's life and how to occupy your street well.
Yeah, that's good. That's super good. Well, I think it's a good place to end this thing. I really appreciate you guys talking with me today. I love you
course,
guys. I'm so proud of y'all. We'll have to do this thing again soon for sure. Thank you guys for listening to the No Walls podcast. If you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe to this thing. Give this thing a like. Comment on this thing. Let us know what you thought about it. If you have any, if you have any new ways that you are finding to occupy all streets, let us know in the comments. If you enjoyed this episode, let us know. It really helps us out a lot. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We love y'all like crazy, and we'll see y'all in the next episode.